Hello, and welcome to A Word of Hope on the 29th Sunday of Ordinary Time. I am Father Jim Marchionda, coming to you once again from the mountains of Abruzzo, Italy, in the town of Pacentro. You can see the mountains and part of the village behind me here. I awake every morning to these magnificent mountains. As I open the doors in my kitchen toward the mountains, my first words are, Buongiorno Dio, good morning, God. My second words are grazie per tutto questo. Thank you for all this. It strikes me every morning how magnificent is the grandeur of God's creation. And it reminds me every day that it all belongs to God. It all belongs to God. I believe that is the challenge of today's gospel from the 22nd chapter of St. Matthew's Gospel, where we hear the scribes and Pharisees confronting Jesus head on, trying to trap him, trying to trip him up. And today the story of their trap has to do with paying taxes to Caesar. So the Pharisees send one of their lawyers to Jesus, and he gives them all kinds of false praise. He says, "We know you are a truthful man, and that you're not concerned with anybody else's opinions." He said, "So tell us, is it lawful to pay the census tax to Caesar or not?" Jesus gets angry and he says, "Why are you testing me, you hypocrites?" And then he says, "Do you have a coin?" And they say, "Yes." He said, "Well, whose head and inscription is on that coin?" And they say, "Well, it's Caesar's." And Jesus, refusing to fall into their trap, says, "Then pay to Caesar what is Caesar's, but pay to God what is God's." Magnificent. And it reminds me of what this reminds me of, that it's all God's. It all belongs to God. My friends, this was a confrontation between Caesar, or the politics of the day, and the gospel. We have conflicts between the politics of our day and the gospel every day, especially given the hideous wars that are going on all over the world. Ukraine, Gaza, all of the migrants running for their lives, all of the failed efforts at humanitarian aid. My friends, politics and the gospel are in conflict today, just the way they were in the time of Jesus. And I believe today it's time to remind ourselves that it all belongs to God. It all belongs to God. Even what is Caesar's belongs to God. And so maybe as we hear Jesus' words today, give to Caesar what is Caesar's, but give to God what is God's. Maybe all of our nations, maybe all of our politicians, maybe all of the people in our church need to remind ourselves that it all belongs to God, and that we should not pit the trials of this world against the gospel, but we must use the gospel to solve the trials of our world. It's a great challenge today. It's appropriate that we hear this today. And instead of focusing just on giving Caesar what is Caesar's, giving politics what is due politics, let us focus on giving God what is due God. And let us remind ourselves that it all belongs to God. All of it belongs to God. Blessings.